The Grow My Cleaning Company podcast helps owners of cleaning companies just like you to grow your company and yourself so you can make more money and finally get the time and money freedom that probably got you into this business. Discover how to automate and create systems that allow you to grow like crazy without losing control. If you dig the show and want to show some love, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. It really helps. Enjoy the show. Hey, Cleaning Nation, Mike Campion here with Anthony DiBicarro, which I'm dying to say DiBicarro because I'm illiterate, but I think I got it right. This dude is one of our brand newest Next Level members, has a commercial company called Magic Clean, started in January 2020, if I'm not mistaken. Just wanted to share his story with you guys because we can yak and yak and yak, but I love hearing actual owners of cleaning companies share their struggles, their things that are working, those aren't that working. I think you can learn as much or more from those in the coaching. I'm sure I butchered your intro, Anthony. Anything you'd like to say to add, detract, or change from any of the crap I just said?
No, you nailed it. So good job, Mike.
Perfect. Every fifth podcast, I'll get an introduction nailed. So there we go. So let's just start with, give us a 30-second summary of when you started January 2020, kind of what you hoped out of the business. And then typically when people, I'll let you tell your own story, but typically when people call us, it's not because things are going great. They've got some frustration. They're stuck. Something's driving them nuts. And I know how hard it is. I'm a dude, right? I don't like asking for directions any more than the next dude. So it's hard to go from, this is my baby and it's perfect and I love her, talking about our business, to, all right, there's some, my baby might be sick. There might be something wrong. My baby screams all night and I can't sleep and I need to change something, to I'm actually going to take action to not just reach out to someone for help, but then, joining the program. It's a big commitment of time and step, so what happened, kind of walk us through just 30 seconds, the first 2 years, what made you call, and then we'll pick up your story. We'll pick up your story there.
Sure. So I started alongside being a property manager. So I thought as the time that it would take for me to start my property management business, that I could go ahead and have cleaning on the side that kind of go hand in hand. And it really turned out that I was fortunate enough, even through the pandemic, to turn them both into two full-time businesses or projects. So that, fast forward through, quite a bit of struggle and everything else, but that's where I got to a place where, you kind of realize you're not superhuman as much as maybe you want to be. So
what brought that on? Was it you were working too much? You were taking 2 steps forward, 7 steps back? Like, when you say not superhuman, how'd that show up in your life?
Well, it just showed up that, just no breaks, constant, running around. I was on the phone all the time. And at that time I was cleaning. I was just a one-man show, whenever you start out. And then, with the property management side of things, really it's, putting out fires, constantly. So I had a business that was, I had to physically be there, in another business where I was kind of a punching bag of landlords that I worked for and tenants that, everybody is looking for me for answers. So, and then in the beginning of this year, in January, my fiance and I, we had a baby. So that was really where I knew that there was a decision that had to be made. And I learned a lot of things, but I didn't really learn how to juggle. And I was going to drop one of the balls and it wasn't going to be the baby. So, I knew that for the first half of this year, I knew that there was a decision that was going to need to be made.
So let me comment, because that is so common. And most people, it sounds like this is the path Anthony was on. We will keep working until something big happens. And thank God for you, Anthony, was having a baby and being like, hold on, I am clear on my priorities. And a lot of times for those of us that are parents already, we'll start the business with kids and we'll get that place, but somehow a new kid will shake us into reality. But having kids, we'll know, like, I'm not connecting with my kids. And when I am home, it's just my body. I'm not even present with them. So I guess what I would encourage all of you guys, Cleaning Nation gals, is don't wait. And I got to say 10% of the time or 5% of the time, it's, I got married, I had a baby, or it's a blessing in your life. 95% of the time, it's a curse, right? Like my spouse left me, or my kid got into some real trouble because dad wasn't around or mom wasn't around. Or I physically got sick, or I had to go to the hospital. Something tragic happens, and we get a lot of calls at that time. Or I got too old to clean, and man, we'll do everything we can to help you then. But for crying out loud, you don't have to wait. We don't have to wait for, like, drives me nuts when people are like, New Year's, it's October, like first of the year, I'm going to start losing weight. It's like, for crying out loud, like, it's just an arbitrary date. Like, we just made up the calendar. Nothing really happened. This is just how we count it. We could have, March 3rd could have been the new year. If we, like, what are we talking? We're just making it up. So don't wait for sickness or something good like a baby or the ending of a relationship, or you can make this change today just because you decide to, right? So I love this podcast opportunity. Just like, hold on, is today the day? How am I doing? Are things out of hand? Do I need to wait until some fabricated January 1st, or I get a baby, or I get sick, or whatever? Take action. All right. So usually we'll kind of walk through all that, but let's just, for fun, let's do it a little different order. I'm going to skip to the end. Tell me what your life looks and feels like now. Then we'll reverse engineer and be like, okay, how do we get that for the rest of Cleaning Nation? So I think we only met 9 weeks ago, like a couple months, more than 2, less than 3.
Yeah. Towards the end of May.
Okay. And we're recording this towards the end of July. So call it 2 months.
Sure.
How's your life different? What's changed? And then when you get all this and people are, oh, how do I do that? Then we'll tell them.
Yeah. So, the arrangement that my fiance and I have now that works pretty good is, she goes to work until the afternoon, and I'm dad until about 2-3 o'clock every day. And then
love that.
And my staff, they all work, for the most part, 4 to midnight. So I'm on hand, available for them. But we get to have dinner together, and then, I pass the baby off, so hopefully that's whenever she decides to be cranky, is whenever I'm out doing all of my work. But
yeah, that's not something we coach on, by the way. That's a different course, a different set of people. We can't training your baby to be cranky for your spouse or that's beyond our skill set. But I love, Anthony, that you're like, what I'm hearing you saying, please, I don't want to put words in your mouth. What I hear you saying is 2 months ago, you felt like the reality was your business has controlled your life. Now you still work, right? It's only been 2 months. You're not like, I make hundreds of $1,000s a year, and I don't do anything. We're not quite there yet, but I control my schedule, and I decide when I work and when I don't work. And most importantly, that schedule I've decided on works for me and the people I love. It doesn't just, that's what the business needs, and I make the people I love suffer through the schedule my business needs. Am I hearing you right? Or am I totally twisting you?
Yeah, that's hitting the nail on the head there. I would say just the biggest things for me were to get that control and in that freedom to at least be on my own terms. In the mornings with the baby, I mean, that's something I'll never get back. So to be able to be here and be here with her for that, it's really, the most valuable thing, that I could, there's no price tag for it. So,
the thing I want to encourage you guys, listeners, on is, I wish, I would like to be like, see, our program is the best. Everyone come here and give us money, but we only take a little bit a month. So that's not the answer. The answer is Anthony made a decision. So I think the big thing I want you guys to get, because a lot of you right now are listening might go, I'm not there yet. But maybe if you really thought about it, you are, right? You're like, think through, like, is your spouse kind of like, yeah, I expect when you come home, you're going to be on the phone and on the computer and answering emails, and maybe your body's there, but I got to like dance or compete with your business for your attention. Maybe your kids, even worse, right? Maybe you started your business when your kids are 4 and they're now 7. So you never had that, like, oh my gosh, I've got this first child. I'm going to, it was, the clarity just came naturally. What I'm hearing from Anthony, certainly I like to think that we offered some help and some systems and processes, but the start of that was he made a decision. He went from a life of, if I got to let chaos reign in my life to feed my family, and that's the price I have to pay, I guess I'll pay it, to no, I made a line in the sand decision to what I want my life's going to look like. And I'm going to make my business bend to create that life. I'm not going to continue bending my life to, and again, then you can find the systems and process and support and, then obviously there's some tools to be done. But before you made that decision, we were still here. We were here the whole time, but of complete or any other resource you chose to get, but they didn't do you any good because you made the decision. Am I overstating that, or is that how you experienced it?
No, that's perfect actually. Cause it came down to deciding exactly what it was that I wanted. They say, desire is the starting point of all achievement. So
I would even say decision, because you had the desire and then you made the keyword. I decided what I want. I'm like, that's when the magic happened.
Yeah. And then it was every decision after that, after you make the first decision, as long as it's still in line with, who you are and what you want, the decisions after that, are really easy. It was, okay, this is what I want. And then, okay, now I can join a program and a community of people with a recipe and a system that's going to, show me how to get to where I want, as long as I follow the recipe. I mean, obviously, but it was a no-brainer decision.
So hopefully you guys are hearing, first he had to decide where he wanted to go, right? If he came to me as a potential client and said, hey, Mike, I need help. Great. Help with what? I don't know, making my business better. What's better look like to you? I don't know, better than it is now. And he wasn't clear on, I want control over my time. He's obviously got some financial goals that we don't have to share here. But if he's just, I want to make my life better, no decent coach or who's going to help. How do I help? I don't even know what that means to you. So the decision of first, I know what I want, right? That until he had that, no one can help him. And then the decision of, and I'm going to do what it takes to get it. Those are the magic. So if y'all are taking notes, you're like, what's my action item? Get clear on what you want, and then make a decision that you're going to subserviate all the other decisions to it. So once he decided, my decisions to my wife and my fiance and my kid, my little girl, and that's what this business exists to do. Now, like you used the words you exact said were, everything else became easy. And I don't know if it became easy, but it certainly became simple. But until we're clear on, do I live to serve the business, or does the business live to serve me? Or does the business live to serve my daughter? And once we're clear on that, then 1,000%, the other decisions are simple. But until you have that, help or no help, you're just going in circles. You're going to a travel agent going, I want to go, help me plan my trip. And you're like, where do you want to go? You're like, East. I'm like, well, I can't buy a plane ticket for East. like Florida, like Paris. Help me, walk with me. What does that mean? All right. So clarity and decision, huge. If that's all you guys get, that's a big one. Literally, we're going to talk some tactics, but until you have that, if you're not willing to get clear on what you want and decide that you're going to get it, everything else we have doesn't help. But once you get that, this next part will be helpful. So what were the big things that you were able to do, Anthony, to change from a man who was clear on what he wanted of freedom and to be able to decide when he worked and when he didn't, and had made a decision to do that, to a guy that's actually got that in his life now?
Well, so with the decision, I would say, the biggest reservation or fear is that my day-to-day is, it's going to change. And, however uncomfortable or whatever I might have decided that was, there's still that, the devil, and swapping it. What's the saying? How's the saying go?
Basically, I'm working 24/7. I don't have time for the people I love, but I know what this feels like. Yeah. Or behind door number 2 is, I'm going to make some boundaries and I'm going to have time for the people I love, but that might require me to work at a higher level, learn new skills, become a leader, do things I don't like, do things I'm uncomfortable with. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but is that what?
Yeah. Just a complete change of environment. I mean, it's even like whenever, for me to compare that to, is like learning that I'm going to be a new father. It's like, okay, I'm not quite to that big of an extent, but almost the same feelings is, okay, things are going to be categorically different. And I just have to be able to adapt. And, that took some mental gymnastics as well as, I think Bruce Lee, like, be like water, right? So you can just kind of adapt to your surroundings and be what you need to be. But another big thing that I had kind of in my tool belt was the saying that action cures fear. So the time that you spend deliberating and thinking, where, maybe doubt and whatever creeps in, but, if you just spent that time actually doing the action item and putting that effort forward, you really move the ball. And I
So
guess
on that note, I know you've taken a lot of action in the last couple of months. What was if you could pick one to kind of share with Cleaning Nation that might give them the most value, what was the big action that you took that you felt kind of had the most help towards your goal?
Well, besides trying to think of the best way to phrase it, I mean, I would say that taking the action of, you mentioned that the best new customers to find are your current customers.
That's a writer downer, kids, by the way. If you're don't just because he said it real easy, the best new source of revenue is not new customers, it's current customers. Go ahead, buddy.
And whenever I didn't have any fears about raising prices or anything like that on my current customers, because I really was offering them better service, and it was better for them, ultimately better for my employees. And
that's another writer downer, guys. Anthony's, because he's saying it so casually, it sounds like there's nothing in there. There's a lot in there. Not just, and by the way, we don't just arbitrarily raise prices. It's not like when you come into our program, like just raise prices 20%. We look at your prices and we give you the confidence so you know exactly what to rise them. That said, he said two key things. It wasn't just better for me, because a lot of times people will fight it if like, it's good for me, it's a win for me, but it's a loss for you. Good people are like, well, that's not fair. I don't want to do that. He said, and more importantly, I know Anthony believes it was better for them to get the result they want. They need to pay a price so they can afford it. And it was better for my employees. And it was better for me. So when you have a win-win-win and you go in to have that conversation and the customer feels that Anthony's caring for them, hey, the best thing I can do for you is charge you the right amount so you can get the service that you want. You called me for a problem. And if money was the problem, not solving it, don't have any cleaning service would be the best. That's free. Well, obviously that doesn't work because the problem doesn't get solved. So your goal isn't to save money, it's to solve this problem. And I just love your belief. And you just said it so casually, like it was a fact. Yeah, it's best for me. It's best for my customers, best for my employees. That owning it that's big boy stuff. And Anthony makes it look easy. That's why I'm poking at it. So people are like, wait a second, what? That takes work. Please continue.
Well, that was 6 months ago. If I had to have that conversation with my customers, I would have curled up into a ball and maybe rescheduled it for week after week after week. And then, really it would never get done. But, I was able to go in there and genuinely feel that way that, I've looked at the numbers, this is going to help from top to bottom, be able to help you. And then as it helps my business grow, then I'm able to help more people. So it's, I had no reservation. I wasn't holding anything back. So, and being able to speak with everything out in the open like that, they were really responsive to it too. Like, okay, wonderful. And
so which was the best part for you? Was it the financial rewards of, hey, I'm doing the same amount of work I was doing now, but before I was struggling to make a profit and pay bills and have the overhead and resources I need to serve them right, to now making a fair profit and I like doing it and I've got all the resources I need? Was that the best part? Or was it the confidence of changing how the relationship felt from your side to beggar, hey, can I please have money? And I'll do everything I can as cheap as I can. And you're kind of this beggar, to more of a consultant. We're like, hey, we're working together to solve this problem for you, because different, there's no right answer. I'm just interested for you. What felt better? What was more impactful for you?
Yeah, definitely feeling as, I'm coming in now from the consultant stance, because that's something that, it doesn't go away. There's some financial reward or something from raising, but the value that I get from being a genuine person and feeling that way and going from customer to customer, and having confidence that I'm here to help. And, you know, if it doesn't work out, great. I had no fear, because there's only a couple ways that it would work where, you know, if it didn't work out and they were mad about the prices or whatever, and they got rid of me, then okay, well, I wasn't in a place where it was good for my business to begin with. So we didn't really lose out on anything there. Or they try some other solution and that doesn't work out, and they call me back. So it's something like, hey, we part as friends. This didn't quite work out the way we wanted it to, but if something changes on your end, you have my number, please call me. So just the way that everything lined up, where it was a complete benefit for me and a complete benefit for them. There was, you talk about the win-win-win. I didn't see any scenario where there were any losers,
And it's funny, it's paradoxical. The people that really value the changing of the relationship from beggar, because we hate that when it's like, can I please have my money? Can I please have price raise? Can I, come on, let me do this. I'm bidding a bunch of, and it's just like us begging. Feels gross for us. And I don't even think the vendor likes it. Like they're probably, or the customer likes it, because they're like, I'm uncomfortable with it. Like, does this guy even know what he's doing? But when you come in and you're like, I'm here to solve a problem. I know better than anyone else how to solve the problem. Let's talk. Let me really understand your pain. If once I understand it, you understand. A lot of times just the value of helping them understand their own pain is something none of the other people they talk to have even helped them with. And then you're clear on it. And you're like, I know I can solve that problem. And then you bring a solution. It just feels so much better. So it's funny that for you, Anthony, you're talking about that, I don't want to say renegotiating, but re-experiencing how your relationship with your customers feels was the most important. It's funny that tends to be the thing that makes the most money in the future. So you're like, the money's great, but it's kind of a bonus. It's like, well, it's coming, because just the vibe of when we have clients that we have a mutual respect for, we're just able to serve them at such a high level. When it's like, you didn't do this and you didn't do this, and blah, blah, blah. They're miserable barking at you. You're miserable being barked at. There's passive aggressive things. Like, I don't like this guy. A bunch of weird stuff comes up. But when the guy comes and says, hey, Anthony, I know we talked about this and it didn't happen. And you're like, I got it, I'm on. And we can just kind of have a conversation. It just works so much smoothly. And we tend to keep the clients for longer at higher prices. We're able to sell more. And that confidence begets more confidence. And if and when there are people that are just like, no, I treat my vendors terribly. It doesn't matter how you show up. I'm going to try it, because typically it's some sort of insecurity or some weird thing going on their end. They're just going to treat you poorly. You've got the confidence to be like, oh, no. I know what a proper relationship should look like. And this ain't it. This isn't healthy. If you want a whipping boy, God bless, I ain't him. And that, it's funny, I guess what I hear, the short version is I hear you saying the value in the relationships was what you valued more highly. The money was nice. And it's like, well, the funny thing is, to get the money, you need those value in relationships. So it's kind of like you got to get one to get the other. All right. We have gone over, because I'm fascinated by your story. I'm going to let you end. The floor is yours. Give value any way you see fit to Clean Nation, my friend.
Well, I would say that whenever you go to cook dinner, to save yourself time, headaches, and money, you go to the cookbook and you follow a recipe if you want to deliver a good product. So find your recipe out there for growing your business, and follow the recipe, and don't be afraid to cook one or two bad meals to learn the proper way to cook a good one.
I would even add, find the recipe from someone that's made it a couple times.
Yeah.
And helped others make it a couple times.
Correct. Yes. Very key. But that is the golden point to that too. Make sure that they know how to make a good dinner before you're using their recipes.
Yeah. The map you're following, make sure the dude has gotten successfully to where you're trying to go, or gal. That's great. If I could add to it, I would. That's absolutely perfect. And that's it, Clean Nation. So if we're that resource for you, that's awesome. If we're not, the only thing I never want people to do is be like, that Mike's a dummy, or I don't like Anthony, or whatever. We're not going to use them. Fine. So we're just going to go back and keep doing what we've been doing and hope for a different result. Please don't do that. That's not going to work. Find a different mentor, a different system, someone that knows what the heck they're doing, and be friends with them, pay them money, do whatever you need to do, but find someone that's got, and it works for everything, business, health, parenting, like find someone that's gotten the results that you want, whether it's an official coaching relationship or a mentor, whatever it is, and just have them help. I think that's one of the easiest things, is to find someone. It makes it go so much faster. Like doing it on your own is just crazy talk. All right. If that said, if you're like, hey, I'm fine, give me more, I want some help, growingcleaningcompany.com. We've got over 800 podcasts, tons and tons of free resources. Check it out now. Clean Nation, growingcleaningcompany.com. Check it out. See you there. Well, here we are, the end of the podcast, and you made it. Great job. I've got a little bonus for you for sticking through with me. But like I mentioned before, if you got value out of this podcast and you want to show a little love, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Spotify, wherever the heck you're listening to this thing. Share with a friend, share the love. And as a special thank you for those of you that stuck with me to the end, how about I give you my personal phone number so we can text? It's a great way for me to get to know you, your business, your goals personally. So shoot me a text now, 602-932-6431. 602-932-6431. I am the only one who responds to these texts, and I will personally respond to everyone I possibly can, as long as this number is manned. Don't know how long we're going to keep this at the end of the podcast, so grab it now. 602-932-6431. Give me a text, say hey, can't wait to meet you.